good. No, it's good that the holistic health thing that you're doing as well. And so what is your current training regime? How many weeks do you train martial arts? How many weeks are you in the gym hitting the iron and everything?
Well, honestly, I've been sort of taking a hiatus from I was in a car accident earlier in the year and a little banged up. So I'm not, but if that wasn't the case, what I would be doing would be 5-6 days a week. I'm not quite as intense as I used to be, but to stay in shape, the main thing to stay good is the kitchen, knowing how to eat alkaline. And I practice what I preach. So that's why I'm still looking healthy. But I like TRX.
You're still looking very young, I should say.
Yeah, thank you. I like TRX because it uses your own body weight. You know, the straps, the gravity straps, basically they call them. So you attach it to the door. You don't even have to leave the house if you don't want. And you can work your whole body that way. So at the very least, and I'll be starting that again soon, as soon as I get worked out, fixed up a bit. Or we'll go back to the old bodybuilding training in the weight gym 3-4 days a week. I like to hit the heavy bag, do a kickboxing workout once or twice a week. I joined Gracie Jiu-Jitsu for a while. I got myself a blue belt. And then I started traveling. The last number of years have been very interesting for me. I've been moving around and trying to find a home, basically. I grew up in Canada, but now I'm an American. I needed a break from LA, so I kind of just walked the earth like Kane from Kung Fu, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And I just got my blue belt, and I was just starting to spar in Gracie Jiu-Jitsu, and I loved it. Oh, my God. That was like, I hadn't felt anything. I wasn't hungry for anything like that since kickboxing, because it's like the old man's kickboxing. You can go full on in jiu-jitsu without really getting hurt or hurting anybody. At my age now, you're getting busted off with kickboxing and stuff. You know? So I was so excited about that. But then I just started traveling, and I never settled into a school. But now I think I'm settled into the Los Angeles area again, and I'll probably go back to the Gracies and start training there.
You've been at it for a very long time, so congratulations on that. And now, moving to acting, as I noticed, I was looking at your IMDb, you've worked with quite a lot of famous kickboxing champions as well. One in particular, Gary Daniels. I'm a big fan of him as well. He's one of the best kickboxers I've ever seen. And if he's listening, a big shout out to him. And what was it like working with Gary Daniels? Because you've done like 3 movies with him, didn't you? You did Capital Punishment, you did Final Impact with himself, and Lorenzo Lamas. For those who don't even remember him as Renegade, Reno from the show Renegade. And I had no idea he was a real martial artist. I looked up on his IMDb. I was like, wow, he's got so many black belts and everything. And so what was it like working? What was it like working with Gary Daniels and Lorenzo Lamas?
Gary was awesome. He was the first friend I kind of met in California. That was the first movie I did, Capital Punishment, with him. Then I went on to do American Street Fighter.
That was
whatever you said. I've been so many films over the years.
Final Impact,
all with David Huey, I love David Huey. He was the producer and director of those films. He introduced me to the world of acting. He got me to star in Expert Weapon. So, but Gary was just awesome. He's a true martial artist. And it's funny because I don't think he ever actually was a pro kickboxer. The only pro kickboxer was Don Wilson and myself in those days that were actually acting in movies. But him, and I'll say this too, Jean-Claude Van Damme, I know from my friends, sort of moved with him, sparred with him a little bit for Jean-Claude. And I moved with Gary. And those guys could have made it as pro kickboxers. And I think Gary may have had some fights, but not to the extent of, say, Don Wilson or myself. They had the skills to do so. Same as that other guy, Grunner. What's his name? Granner?
Olivier Gruner.
Olivier Gruner. Yeah. Sorry, Olivier.
No, I'm a big fan of him as well. Yeah, he's awesome. He is. I
used to watch him hit the heavy bag at the Jet Center, and he looked just like a pro kickboxer. So even though he's an actor, he's still a bad dude.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I've seen him fight because I was hoping to talk to him one day. But if he's listening, the invitation still stands, Olivier. And but like say, yeah, because one of my favorite movies of yours, without a shadow of a doubt, other than Kickboxer 3, because that was because I just saw you playing the villain quite a few times. That was one movie I saw you playing the villain in. Ring of Fire 2 with Don the Dragon Wilson. You played one of the villains in that because you had the long, cool hair in that, and that made you stand out. And that was a good look. I got to admit that was a very good look on you there, Ian. And because I can remember in Ring of Fire there was quite a lot of kickboxers turned actors, weren't there? And especially even in number 2, there was quite a few more, weren't there?
Yeah, I mean Jean-Claude Van Damme, God bless him. He gave a lot of us careers in the 90s because in the late 80s he came out with the Bloodsport and then Kickboxer and then all the other ones. And what was cool was I got to meet him too. The night awesome. I used to work, I was a bouncer at the Roxbury. I was a VIP security at the Roxbury, which was the hottest nightclub in the world at the time. On Sunset Boulevard, they made a movie. They called it A Night Out at the Roxbury. I mean, that's how famous it was. And I was one of the guys for you to get, if you're getting into that club, you're going through me. So I got to meet a lot of people. And Ely Samanitri, the guy that owns the Roxbury, one of them, he was there the night that I got Kickboxer 3. And so was Jean-Claude Van Damme having dinner at the restaurant. I was like, Ian, you got to introduce me to Jean-Claude, man. I just booked Kickboxer 3. I'm playing the bad guy. He's like, yeah, sure. Come on over, man. And he introduced me to Jean-Claude. So I said, Jean-Claude, I just booked Kickboxing 3. Thank you so much for doing part 1 because now I get to go to Rio de Janeiro for months and star in my first movie. And he looked at me and he grabbed my face. He goes, with a face like that, you should be the good guy. Because I told him I got the lead bad guy role. He's like, you should be the good guy. Like, yeah, someday. Someday, man.
Jean-Claude, without a shadow of a doubt, if he's listening, big shout and thanks for the inspiration. He was one of the reasons I wanted to learn karate. Jeff Speakman was one of the reasons I wanted to learn Kempo, but in England there was no school available to learn Kempo. And I got to admit, Steven Seagal was one of the reasons I wanted to learn Aikido. So thankfully I've managed to learn a little bit of every of it. And but like, what was Jean-Claude actually? What was he like when you were you very starstruck when you saw him? Like, he was kind of like passing the torch on to you, isn't he? When you met him that time.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could still get pretty starstruck. I mean, I was a champion fighter myself.
Yeah.
So I held myself well, but still, I mean, yeah, it's Jean-Claude Van Damme. Are you kidding me? And but again, and he was so personable and kind that he, unlike some people, like I'll just tell you the truth, Steven Seagal, I read for him and he made me feel bad. Like I read for him and I had that fight coming up, the one I lost to Claggett in Hollywood. And I brought him a poster and I said, hey man, if you want to come to the fights, we'll make sure there's security there. We'll give you front row seats and everything. Like, I don't like watching fights. I'm a fighter. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm already kind of nervous sitting in front of a huge movie star that could possibly give me a movie role. And I've looked up to you for years. Okay, But then you hear the story. I heard stories after that that's just the kind of guy he was. He wasn't the nicest guy in the world. But Jean-Claude was. Jean-Claude was a real nice guy.
Yeah, everyone who's met Jean-Claude say the same thing. He's just the nicest guy, and he's very welcoming and everything, and he's very easy to get along with and everything. And
he's a great actor now too. Have you seen his recent movies? I mean, he's a good actor now. He's come a long way. We all started, most of us started acting without knowing how to act because we were kickboxers. But the smart ones really learned how to act. I myself studied with, it's called Baron Brown Studio now. It was called Joanne Baron D.W. Brown Acting Studios in the 90s. I became a very good method actor because they kept throwing me in these karate movies, and I thought, well, I should at least learn how to act. So all the stuff you saw me do in the martial art movies, I hadn't even really taken acting classes yet. I learned how to act really well. And then they stopped making those movies, which was hysterical. I've done I did some theater and I've done some shorts and I'm back now. I'm back in LA and I'm looking for an agent right now. maybe a manager. And I think I've got some contacts. I've started submitting myself. The great thing is being an actor in this day and age is it's all digital. Back in those days, you had to literally like put a headshot with, a resume into an envelope, lick it, and stamp it, and mail it. Now you just go click, 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 click. So I've been doing that for the last week, and I've already set myself up with 2 or 3 auditions. I got callbacks. So I'm pretty sure I'll be a working actor again very soon.
Well, I pray it all goes well for you there, Ian, and God bless you for everything as well, my brother.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So, like I say, back to your movies. And we're speaking of Kickboxer 3, because obviously you jumped into a franchise that Jean-Claude Van Damme started off and everything. What was it like working with Sasha Mitchell? Because I can remember the time when I met, well, not when I met, sorry, get the words out correctly. When I saw Sasha Mitchell, first time I ever saw him was in Kickboxer 2. And I had no idea he was in the show Step by Step and Dallas, because he was in there for a while. And he was quite, when I watched, I didn't know, because Step by Step didn't come on in England. It wasn't as popular in England as it was in the US, because he played such a funny character in that show, didn't he? Cody. Yeah. He was always talking like that. I saw some of the clips on YouTube. Yeah. But what was he like working with Sasha? Did he have a martial arts background, didn't he?
No, they actually taught him for the movies. Man, this is always a weird one, because, and I'm an honest guy, so I'm just going to tell you the truth. He must have had some problems or something when we were shooting that, because he was not a nice person to. He was to me because he knew I'd, kill him. But to the people that weren't bigger or stronger or better than him in fighting, he was really mean. Like kids would come up and ask for an autograph and say, get away from me. The poor director, Rick King, and then the script lady, I used to watch them at the end of the day, and they would just hold each other. Like, they couldn't believe they made it through another day with this guy. He was such a...
I'll believe
what I'm saying? He was not a good person in those days. Now, I'm sorry, Sasha. I don't mean to diss you or nothing. I'm sure you're a good guy now. And I'm sorry you were going through those problems then. But, I mean, you need to be accountable for that. You ruined a lot of people's days on that movie set. Again, not mine, because can't mess with me. But some of the smaller people he treated really bad. I hope he's made, I hope he's prayed about that, because he was not a good guy to be working on that set. Straight up.
Dennis Chan, who everybody remembered him as Zian.
Awesome. Well, Dennis is the best.
Yeah, because back in them days, there's always a fight. There's always a movie where there's a fighter upcoming, and then the coach he's got who's like half his size, and he's like, "What can he teach me?" And then when he teaches you, all right, so you got a lot more to teach me. I'm going to keep my mouth shut and let you do everything for me. Let you do everything, because you had all this big martial arts movies back in the days, like the Karate Kid. You had obviously Kickboxer 1, 2, and 3, because he never came back from after number 4, did he? He just went on to do other things, didn't he? Dennis Chan.
I'm not really sure, because I think he may have worked in China too. I mean, wherever he was from, I think because he was a big actor. I don't know what big, but he's a very good actor anyway. So
he was. He was fantastic.
He may not have been in Hollywood movies after the Kickboxer series, but I'm sure he kept his acting career going somewhere because he's very talented.
Oh, he was. Yeah, I agree with that. And Deathmatch, I got to talk to you about that, because that is one of my favorite movies you ever did, where you were playing John Lawson. And one of my favorite scenes in that is when you're doing the training outside. Something about that shot when you're training on the beach, it's like the perfect combination of darkness and light. When you're seeing the sun go down and you're seeing these two fighters sparring, you look badass. I have to give you that compliment. You looked absolute badass the way you were training in there. And then when you were training with Benny the Jet Urquidez, I mean, what was that like training with him? Did you feel like back in your kickboxing days, or did you feel like, we're just acting here, it's gonna be a lot easier this time, wasn't it?
Pure excitement. Sheer joy. I mean, my dreams were coming true. Like, don't worry, my story gets real sad later, but at this stage, this is the peak, okay? I'm starring in martial art movies. This is the second one. There was Expert Weapon with David Huey, and now this is Deathmatch. And the shot, thanks, we had a guy named Wes, and I'm going to forget his last name, sorry, but he was the DP for Deathmatch. Amazing. He just got out of school. He won an award, like an Academy Award, I think, for anything that could have went right for me for that film did. That guy was an Academy Award winning DP. So he shot that film beautifully. They cast amazing actors for the film Deathmatch. It was funny, I was looking online the other day and I had a critique about Deathmatch and they said, man, this is one of the best martial art films because of all the people in it too. They said Ian Jacklin carried the film. I was like, hey, all right. But Matthias Hughes is amazing. You know, I just said him when we went out. There's so many of them. Martin Cove.
Who everyone remembered mainly as John Kreese from The Karate Kid. Was it intimidating working with the guy who created the phrase "strike first, strike hard, no mercy"? Did you get him to say that sometimes on set? Could you please say the line, Marty?
I should have. No, he's actually just a nice guy in real life. You know, he ended up directing me too in an episode of Silk Stockings. It's funny, we worked twice together. And I used to watch him on that Cagney and Lacey show.
Oh, yeah.
But Deathmatch, man, that sunset scene was all Wes. Can't remember his last name. The DP of Deathmatch. All the actors, the name actors that were thrown in there. And it was a good script. I mean, it was a blessing. Like I said, anything that could have went right did for that movie. And so that's like a calling card for me. I still have my back pocket. Deathmatch. So many people like yourself. In the time when it first came out, I expected that, and nothing really happened. It was at the end of straight to video VHS cassettes, and so I missed the timing on it. If it would have been out when Jean-Claude did his, I would have been Jean-Claude, but it wasn't. It was at the end of that era. So at least I got the calling card, and you know, it captured me on tape when I was in my youth and looking the best and feeling the best. Mm-hmm. And it was a great film. I always thought we should have done a Deathmatch too. Maybe we still will.
I mean, I can remember that fight scene you had with Matthias Hughes, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best fights. Because Matthias, he's like a mountain of a guy, isn't he? I've read he's like 6'6" or something. I mean, you're about what? You're about 6 foot yourself, I would say. About 6'1". 6'1". Sorry about that. Yeah, so I was one off. But yeah, so what was it? Was it like when you stand next to him? Were you like, boy, that's a big towering dude? Because the first time I ever saw Matthias Hughes was in the movie Dark Angel with Dolph Lundgren. Because Dolph, bless him, I know he's a real martial artist himself. Dolph was always the big guy, but to find a guy big, just a little bit bigger than Dolph is quite an accomplishment for a producer and for a casting director as well. Like, you find one hulking guy, but now you find an even bigger hulking guy right next to him as well. So it's a perfect combination there. And so what was it really intimidating working with Matthias, or was he just like, again, the nicest guy on earth?
Again, yeah, nicest guy on earth, and big guy. But I was already used to it. I mean, I sparred with Lennox Lewis, who's 6'6", and he was 230 at the time when I sparred him. I'm like 170. Because I was the light heavyweight. I was telling you earlier at the Lennox Lewis stable when he won the gold medal in the '88 Olympics. Then his first fight was in London, Ontario, or Toronto, Ontario, Canada, and he was training in Kitchener at my kickboxing gym of all places. And they said, "Hey, Lennox is looking for sparring partners," and so are the sparring partners for Lennox. And there's a number of fighters that were in there for that fight. So they came to our gym, and it was great sparring for us. As a kickboxer, we could never get sparred. So I sparred with some of the boxers, and the trainer, John Davenport, said, "Hey, there's a light boy that can fight. Let's take him back to England." And they did. So I got to be the light heavyweight in the Lennox Lewis stable. So I'm used to sparring or being around. You know, we used to go to his house for dinner. His mom would make us dinner all the time. We had a good time in England.
That's nice.
I was used to being around a 6'6" guy. So, and then all of a sudden, here's Matthias, and he's pretty huge too, you know.
Yeah, he is. Yeah,
but again, just a really nice guy, and in the fight scenes, you know, he was really skilled in his choreography. So it's not like he would slip and hit you with something. Like that was one of the things that up about Sasha. He would slip sometimes and hit me for real, and I was like, man, the cast and crew are already offering me money to slip and knock you out, and here you are.
knocking me out.
I shouldn't tell you these things.
I swear, I'll bleep it. I'll edit it out of the interview. Don't worry about it.
Like I say, I'm all good with Sasha. I'm sure he just went through a tough time. We all do. So
we all do, yeah.
but, you
it's
ask an
part of
honest
life.
question. You ask an honest question, you're going to get an honest answer from me.
I appreciate that. Thank God bless you for that. I mean, it's true. I mean, we all go through bad times in life. I mean, we don't know. As long as you look down the line that, yeah, I did do this, I did do that, and I will be held accountable for it. As long as you make amends, it's better late than never to make amends with those. And then, everybody gets on with their life afterwards, isn't it? Because you did the right thing by stepping up and taking accountability of your actions and your words and everything.